working hard. I remember back in my day when you were broke, you would get a job at McDonald's and it'd be able to pay all your bills. That's right, the rent, car note, and the lady doesn't even have to work. And anytime I was in a financial crisis, I remember selling all of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards to buy some Raven Wing sleeves. Yeah, that was a really good investment. Best investment I ever made in my life. What was I talking about again? Oh, yeah. Gladiator Beast is one of the best budget decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you guys are ever in a bind, you can always pick up that deck because it runs the Yu-Gi-Oh! Format. In fact, if you subscribe to this channel, I can show you how. It all starts off with Gladiator Beast. What's going on with ya, big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Budget Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks. Whether you're on a ramen diet or if you're trying something new or if you're barely getting into the game, it's probably the best approach you should take because you're not spending a ton of money for a new Yu-Gi-Oh deck and you're also still able to play Yu-Gi-Oh with friends. I've compiled a list of some of the best budget decks in the entire game and I've compiled them for all different reasons. Maybe we're hoping for some new support to come out to make these decks insane. I got your back on that. Or we want to jump into the game and be competitive immediately. No matter what your desires are, I have 5 powerful budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks that are going to rock your world. But first, we got to talk about something. I want to go ahead and say I might be the budget guy, the poor connoisseur, the top ramen, the brokies champion. But that doesn't mean that you guys can't contribute to this meaningful conversation. As you can see, I'm so poor, I forgot I had lights. So let's make that a little better. There we go. If you guys have any budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks you want to talk about that you think are really good, then go ahead and let us know down below in the comment section. I will try my best to refrain from talking about Dinomorphia and Melodious, but they're both really good decks. I really want to focus on some things that got support from the 2025 Megatins with them coming up, because there's going to be quite the bit of cards that you will pull, and you're probably wondering what you can do with them. And then there's some Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that may just simply have a lot of potential that I haven't touched upon. Let's go ahead and start off with that one. The Duelist Advanced Booster set has given a lot of players mixed emotions. It's like you have a son that is a major disappointment in sports, but then turns around and does something super athletic that you didn't expect. Isaiah, you'll be able to beat me in basketball. I'm proud of him. All right, now go do your homework. Close my door. Close my door before I punch you in the face. You still have love, you still have hope, you still push them in the right directions, and in the future, you have a very strong feeling it will be a great Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Or son. That's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to RB. It may not got any direct support in the 2025 Megatins, but I think it's really a point of contention to talk about. The main reason is that RB is a TCG exclusive, meaning that the only people to have it are the TCG players, not the OCG players in Japan and all those other territories alike. You see, I have a lot of hope in RB because I think Konami is finally stepping their game up when it comes to TCG exclusives. Konami genuinely did step their game up when it came to Mitsurugi, being one of the very few TCG exclusives to not only take the meta by storm, to be one of the best decks in the entire game. Now, there is potential for Konami to go back to their old ways and keep reprinting trash archetypes, but just like how I believe in my son, I think you should believe in this Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. The first batch of cards are incredibly good, and they're solid support for all machine decks. RB Gatten Driller not only just so happens to be a machine duplication target, is also an Ancient Gearbox target. RB Vulcan Rocket is a level 5 machine monster, meaning that yes, you can go K9 combo, but you also have access to Cyber Dragon Infinity through Cyber Dragon Nova and your Infinite Track River Stormer. And RB Gatten Cutter, I mean, the card's just crazy. I mean, have you actually read the effects on the RB cards? This one's a quick effect negation of an opponent's spell and trap card. What? They're further supported by some amazing link monsters and some powerful spell cards. There really isn't a single miss with RB. The only question that brings is what will Doom of Dimension bring? This strategy has already made Earth Machine and Crystron totally different decks way more powerful, and is actually support to just about every single machine deck out in Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, due to the RB cards being so cheap, think the entire deck core is about $15, it's almost foolish not to bet your horses on the RB cards. Now class, I've been personally coping with RB Earth Machine. It did in fact top a regional inside of this Justice Hunters format. And if you guys remember when I made my comeback into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, it was the deck that I used religiously, winning and topping events all throughout COVID. So of course that version has a special place in my heart, but I can't always stay stuck to the past. Your boy gotta do what's in the current. And currently with the next Yu-Gi-Oh deck, I was 37-4 on Master Duel. Ugh. Now understandably, both Master Duel and the TCG are two totally different entities, but I even used this Yu-Gi-Oh strategy on our YCS Duel Challenge, and I thought I had some pretty good results on showing you how strong it can be. The Diddy Bikers is one of the best budget decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, and brother, it got rarity upgrades in 2025 Megatins. Anime wow. I think that Goblin Bikers are actually a pretty cool deck in this format, especially when you're getting your bang for your buck. Let's face it, Exceed monsters are still the forefront of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just in the World Championship, K9 Vanquish Soul won the entire thing. And players are still going to experiment with other K9 builds, whether it's K9 Dracotel, how I've seen a K9 Yummy, K9 Crystron, K9 this, K9 that. It's time to send the real dogs at them to go beat a dog. And that's when the Goblin Bikers come in. Goblin Biker is a Yu-Gi-Oh deck that is especially good at being able to deal with Exceed-based Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Between both Goblin Biker, Doug the Charger, and Grand Entrance, being able to special summon monsters to your side of the field, forcing them to use effects just because you have cards in hand has always been a pleasurable thing for me. And what I also love about this Megatin is that the Fiendsmith cards were reprinted, and Goblin Biker is really good with Fiendsmith. Now, what I like about Goblin Bikers is that you can follow a Dracotel-like approach, shoving as many hand traps inside of the deck, and then just being able to hand trap your opponent to death in full combo, or you can follow the approach of playing Goblin Biker as an engine. Keep in mind, the Goblin Biker cards are still good against Ryziel, and they're pretty good against K9. So using them inside of an engine is not too far-fetched, especially if the Yu-Gi-Oh strategy just so happens to have a Goblin card in its name. And that brings us to easily the best deck that we have to talk about here in Memento. I don't want you guys to sleep on this deck because it did win 2 YCSs, and that was at the height of both Ryziel and Malice's prime, back when they had all of the cards they wanted off of the ban list. And Memento does have that connection, because Memento Goblin is a Goblin monster. Goblin Biker Grand Entrance can tribute any of your monsters, dead cards whatsoever, to be able to summon Memento Goblin, which is a full combo. And speaking of full combos, Memento, I'm not gonna lie, it's complicated. If you are a new Yu-Gi-Oh player that's just barely jumping in, or if you are a player switching decks but don't like things too complicated, I would not recommend Memento. The cards seem straightforward, and they can be, but when you actually start playing against other players, there's so many different options that can be done with this Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You may think that the game's over when in fact, it's not over, which could lead to frustration in you thinking that the deck's bad, but boy, it's good. Memento also has the potential to be one of the best decks, and it's simply because of its malleability. You can play Goblin Biker. You can play Fiendsmith easily inside of this deck. You can even play K9. With tons of variants and even more options, Memento is a really strong deck. And it also goes to help that you have a 5,000 attack monster that no one can say the card's name right that can outright win games. Now, speaking of budget, you're probably going to want to be able to sleeve your cards in some pretty good sleeves. And I just so happen to have the best sleeves on the planet that's actually for the budget players. That's right, big dogs, Raven Wing version 4 is back online on TheCaliEffect.com, which means that you guys can get the best sleeve in the entire universe for the cheapest price in comparison to all of my competitors. This channel has always stood as a channel for the people, by the people, and if you want to support this channel while also getting something in return, consider going to TheCaliEffect.com and purchasing your sleeves today. And for the people that just want to support the channel, I am going to be putting personal deck lists on my Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. But the last 2 strategies that I'm going to talk about has seen success throughout the format. In fact, one of the 2 just got this close to topping Worlds, so I think it's pretty legit. White Forest has actually gotten a ton of support indirectly through the circumstances of the Yu-Gi-Oh format and directly through the reprints of the 2025 Megatin. Indirectly, Yu-Gi-Oh players are not playing Jolden Lockbird, and it kind of makes sense. Both Yummy and Dracotel will make you look completely dumb for playing it. And against K9, depending on the variant, they can also make you look fairly foolish. It means that a lot of players are either side decking Droll or not playing it at all. And that was one of White Forest's biggest weaknesses. What makes White Forest so strong in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it is an incredible board-breaking style Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. You don't play a ton of hand traps, just a lot of spell and trap cards that help you break your opponent's board. Cards like the Black Goat Laughs, which you guys seen at the World Championship be a crazy strong Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, just so happens to double back as a discard outlet for the White Forest monsters. It is still at the very heart an Azumina Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck, so Azumina Il Severa and Herald of Arclight are still really easy to summon. And this deck keeps going and grinding and grinding and grinding until your opponent doesn't have enough resources. Hand traps outside of Droll and Lockbird don't always do enough, and its board breaking and making capabilities are some of the best available. I really wouldn't be surprised if next format White Forest is one of the best decks in the room, simply because the ban list decided to do away with cards like Droll or do away with some of its other nemesis. It's a legit contender in my eyes, and thankfully it's really cheap. The last deck I want to talk about is kind of a cheat, guys. It doesn't get any direct reprints inside of the 2025 Megatins, but if you guys are willing to gamble on Fiendsmith, it not being hit, which I think is very possible. It's really weird to say it, but the Fiendsmith cards are no longer as good. Never thought I would say that. So if you're willing to take that risk on the Fiendsmith cards not being hit on the ban list, then Archmage might be your best deck. Now, Archmage has been picking up a ton of steam recently. It's really powerful. It is a fusion-based Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that can do some really crazy things, like turning your Archmage monsters into Light Fiends, which is full Fiendsmith combo. From what I've been noticing, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have been taking more of a board breaker style approach with the deck, using cards like Triple Tactics Thrust to double into board break cards, but also get into their combo pieces. But I think the really big selling point about Archmage in general is that even if it does get hit by Fiendsmith, it's primed to be one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! This upcoming year. The reason why is because it's a lore-based Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Not every single one gets to be a strong one, but if you look back on some of the other lores that happen, most of them do. And if your deck has the potential to be something like Branded, Tier Limit, or Kashtira, those prices of those Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards can completely skyrocket in price. Which is probably another video that we should talk about. The cards that we should be buying before the ban list. I think I even know when the ban list is gonna drop. Big dogs, that's something that I've actually been doing my research on right now. So if it's something that you guys want to see, let me know down below in the comment section. I know for sure if I am putting that video up, I'm going to let the people on the Patreon know first. So be sure to check that out if you want to know a little bit ahead of time. But as always, big dogs, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Be sure to go ahead and join the Discord for an amazing community and follow me on all socials. And also be sure to get to your next class. Check out these videos so I can catch you on the next one.